everyone, it's Katie from the Everhart Museum in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and this is lesson number 2 for grades 3 through 6 for Mystery Week, for Museum Adventure Week. Today, we're going to use these 2 items and our object discovery page to try to figure out what in the world they are. Then, we are going to recreate this one out of our Model Magic clay, and we're going to recreate this one later with some colored modeling clay. So I'm going to set that one to the side. Good thing these are made out of plastic and not as fragile as the real ones that the Everhart Museum has in the collection. I'm going to see if I can figure out what I think this one is by using our discovery page. How big is the object? I'm going to use the back of the page and use the measurements to decide how big and how wide I see this object being. So to really help me get the right measurements, I'm going to look directly over top and line it up with both edges. If I close one eye, it's going to allow me to see and flatten that ruler a little bit better, and I will see the measurement. But I'm not going to give away my measurement. I'll let you decide. Then I will turn my object sideways, line it up with the edge of the ruler again, close one eye again, and see what my measurement is, and fill that in for the height and width of my mystery object. Then, this is a 3D printed object, so we know it's made out of layers and layers and layers of plastic. But I want you to still see how the object feels. Feel the inside, the outside, the bottom. Can you fit it into your hand easily? Right? And write any descriptions on how this feels. So if you ever need to pause this to take some time to write your answers completely, do that. If you ever need to rewind to hear how I'm doing this again, do that as well to help yourself out. Now I want you to try different motions with the object. How do you think it was held? What do you think it was used for? And write your answers here. Might be getting a better idea what this mystery object is, because now we want you to give it a guess. What do you think the object is? And give your best answer. Remember, all about Mystery Week, we're discovering ancient Egypt. We've talked about Queen Hatshepsut, and give your best drawing of this object, and maybe just use half the paper so that after we recreate our own, you can draw what you made on the other side. How do you think this would have been decorated in ancient Egyptian times? Give it your best guess on how it was made, and put it all on this mystery object worksheet here. When you're ready, grab another mystery object discovery page out of your kit and pick up this figure. We'll do the same things. How big is it and how wide is it? So I'll lay it on the ruler, close one eye, look right over top. I'm going to give you a quick little tip on the ruler. We have every 1 inch is marked. The long line in the middle is a 1/2 inch. The 2 medium-sized lines are our 1/4 inch, so 3 inches, 3 1/4, 3 2/4, 3 3/4. And the smallest marks are 1/8 inches, so 3 1/8. This quarter is also called 3 2/8, 3 3/8, 3 4/8, or 3 1/2, 3 5/8, 3 6/8, also 3 3/4, or 3 7/8. So use your 1/4, 1/2, and 1/8 inches marked if you need to as well. You could have done that for your other mystery object as well. So hold it right in place, close that one eye and get that measurement, and then turn it sideways, line it up with the edge of your paper ruler, and find its width there. Maybe it's different widths throughout the figure, and you want to double check and mark multiple widths as well. Next question. Describe how the object feels. Once again, this is a 3D printed object out of plastic, so you might be able to feel the little ridges from its creation for your mystery kit, but give it best description on how it feels. Use this sense of touch to really discover this mystery object. Can it fit in your hand easily, or is it bigger? Try some different motions with the object. How do you think it was held? This might be a little tip here. What do you think it was used for? Once again, good thing these are our mystery objects and not from the collection of the Everhart Museum. Those would be much more fragile and held with much more delicate care. On the back, now is the time to give your guess. What do you think this mystery object is? Maybe you've looked really closely at this part to help you discover. Once again, you can draw your mystery object here as best you can, and then if you want to give it a shot to draw what you actually create later on, you can do that as well. So pause the video so you can finish up both worksheets for your discovery kit of these two mystery items, and then push play again, and we're going to start our pinch pot and then our sculpture. All right, I'm ready to show you our pinch pot for Mystery Week, for Museum Adventure Week for the Everhart Museum in Scranton, Pennsylvania. So we have Model Magic. This is squishy modeling material. It will dry in the air. It does not need to be baked in any way to be finished. So I'm going to carefully open up. Make sure I'm working in a decently clean space that can be cleaned up well after I make my pinch pot. And I want to decide first, do I want to try to use the whole piece, or do I want to try to work with half? Maybe if you've never worked with this before, you just want to do half of it and see how it goes, and then maybe later you can decide to smush it back together and try again. So I'm going to just work with half of my modeling clay, my Model Magic clay, and I'm going to roll it between both palms to get it into a nice ball shape. Okay, you're going to notice with the Model Magic that the creases will get formed. You can use your fingertip to rub them and smooth them out as best you can, and roll it into a ball again. Once you have a ball of clay, we're going to use our thumb, and holding it in our opposite hand, gently push our thumb down into the center. We don't want to push it all the way through the bottom, so don't use too much muscles, and hold it in the other hand. This is called a pinch pot because the way you build it is by just pinching it gently on the outside. So we want to first start off at the bottom, and we're going to work our way up, gradually pinching it. So I'm going to pinch and turn, pinch and turn. Don't try to squeeze it too quickly, because if you try to do this with regular earthenware clay or stoneware clay, it's going to crack really quickly. And we don't want to treat this Model Magic any differently. So I'm still squeezing at the bottom, and we're really using that sense of touch. How does the clay feel between our fingers? How thick is it in different parts? We want it to be as even as possible. So I'm going to pinch and turn and pinch and turn. I like sometimes to have my students really intensify that sense of feeling by closing your eyes while you're seated safely, and pinch and turn your pinch pot that way. That way you're really thinking about how the clay feels between your fingers and not just what it looks like. So I'm going to feel my clay and try not to pinch it too quickly, and try not to pinch it too hard. And while you're working, you want it to end up to be about the thickness of a pencil all the way through. That's going to be a good, strong structure for your pinch pot. So I'm going to pinch and turn and pinch and turn. Once I get all the way to the top, I've got a little bitty cup. And maybe it looks like your mystery object out of your kit. Maybe it looks like the objects we've discussed this week from ancient Egypt. Maybe it looks totally different in a creation all by you, and that's just fine too. I'm going to use my fingertip again to try to smooth out any of those cracks gently and carefully. The clay is going to want to go all over the place if you're not very careful and gentle with it. Then it is air dry clay, so all you need to do is set it to dry, and you might want to tap it to the table a little bit to flatten the bottom. That way it'll stand more upright later on. And if you want to leave it like that to dry, that works. If you think it's going to be stronger and safer to dry upside down, you can do that as well. But once it's dry, it'll stay in that position, and you'll have a wonderful little pinch pot. Then, if you only used half of it, you can use this to make what you want, or you can ball this all back up and try to make an even bigger pinch pot. So I'm gonna squeeze it all back together and repeat all those same steps. Roll it in a ball, push my thumb almost through, pinch and turn, pinch and turn. So see what you can create out of your model magic, trying that pinch pot first. Hey there, you should have already done your object discovery for this object, and by now you should have checked through your papers to figure out what exactly this thing was used for. And you could either have already done your pinch pot out of your modeling clay to try to create a small vessel like this as well. So that video is also posted to the Google Classroom. But now we're going to focus on our other 3D printed object. So get your 3D printed object, your modeling clay tool. If you want to use other reference pictures to help you out with sculpting a different sort of creature, and get ready to try to recreate one of your own. I've also got a figurine that a student of mine gave me. My student Abdul was studying in the United States. He came here from Egypt, and he wanted to gift these little figurines to his teachers to show their appreciation and help them remember him. So it's very cool. Has some hieroglyphics that are shown on the back of it that probably explain more of what it is. You can see the human-like body and the animal-like head. That's very common in many of the figurines that have been discovered throughout ancient Egypt. So a little bit extra something. So with your modeling clay, you can do a couple of different things. After you find a good workspace, you can either take these two fun random colors and mold them together to make one new color if you want just a bigger piece to work with, or you can work with the colors separately and put them together later on. But what we want to challenge you to do is to recreate one of these figurines. So you can use your fingers to help mold it as much as you need to start. But the plastic tools will help burnish or blend your clay together, and so will your fingers. And you can mush and mold these any way. You can try recreating the 3D printed object. Maybe you just want to try a pinch pot out of the modeling clay too, just like we did with the Model Magic clay. This clay is oil based, so you guys might notice your fingers feel a little bit oily or stickier after working with it. Make sure you just use a good amount of soap with washing your hands, and that will help get that oiliness off of your fingers. Make sure you're working in a space that's safe for making a little bit of a mess. If you make a little bit of a mess, if you're a messy artist like I am, just be sure that you are a responsible artist also and clean up after yourself. So I am going to show you a little bit of techniques on how you can push in for the eye sockets, or use the other end to draw around different parts of the headdress for this figure and then smooth it out above. You can draw texture lines in there, or if you don't like the texture, use your fingers to gently smooth the surface out. If you have toothpicks, those might do a pretty good job of getting the smaller details, but this is doing a pretty nice job of getting the ears and the eyes and the decorative pieces for my figurine figured out pretty well. So if you want to just do the one figure out of the modeling clay, go for it. If you want to smush it up because you make a mistake and try it again, it's the great thing about the modeling clay is that you can do it over and over again many times before it'll dry out too far. You can pinch it in different ways to get smaller details. And I'm going to try to build up the mouth a little bit more and see if I can get that to show up. So just scraping a little bit of that clay even gave me what looks to be a lip, so I might just leave it right there and put a little indent on both sides to make the nose. And this is just a little extra different type of clay to let you explore something different than the modeling magic model magic clay, to see how it feels and maneuvers differently. You can break it apart and put it back together to build up the strong shoulders that it needs and blend it so that those two pieces then stay together. Ooh, it's pretty forgiving, but it also will have a mind of its own. So be sure to post some pictures of your creation when you get it all complete, to show off what you've been able to accomplish. And share your successes and your failures with us so we can help you or celebrate with you. And I hope you have fun using your modeling clay to make your figurine as best you can, because it's not easy, but it could be pretty fun.